Hello, bonjour everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cyril. I have been a stem cell researcher for quite some time, and this is why I can tell you about the science of skincare ingredient. And for today's video, I want to answer some of your questions that I got from Instagram and also on YouTube. So the first question is from YouTube. This is from Samara. So she told me bonsoir de Hollande. So it means good evening from Holland. Thank you for your informative videos, backed with scientific data. You are most welcome. In addition, I would like to ask the following question. How can I use vitamin C so that it does not get oxidized after having applied other acids on my skin? So the vitamin C is going to get oxidized because we have oxygen in the air, and this is not really related to the pH, to the degree of acidity. However, we do know that if you use a low pH acid, is going to help the vitamin C to penetrate. And at least I would say that it makes sense about what we know. But this only works if you use the proper form of vitamin C, which is the L-ascorbic acid. But still a part of it will get oxidized from the hair no matter what. So her second question is, how can I reapply sunscreen while wearing makeup on my face? This is a very tricky question because it is very difficult. I would say the best way, that is the less disturbing way, is to use one of those cushion puffs to reapply the sunscreen, like this one. And the way that you do it, you put the sunscreen on top of your hand, you first saturate the sponges, and then you reapply again the sunscreen on your hand, and you dab it all over your face. It will disturb, I would say, the makeup, but it won't be perfect. If you do wear foundation and you need, I would say, coverage, what I would do is then wait for 5 minutes and then reapply on top a little bit of foundation, but definitely it is not perfect, and I don't have the perfect solution. Which is the best sunscreen you would, the best tinted sunscreen you would recommend? I actually don't really know any good tinted sunscreen, but I'm planning to test one from a French brand, which is dermatologist, because they look very promising. I also know that Ultrasun, they have the fluid version that I love so much. It also exists in a tinted form, but I've never tried it. Most of the time when those sunscreen are tinted, is more about masking the white cast effect, but it doesn't really provide like any coverage. One that I really like to use that does have pigmented, this one from the Skin Aqua. This is the UV Super Moisture Milk Pink SPF 50+, Pure Rating of 4+. But this one does, I would say, brighten the skin tone, and it helps with the skin tone because it has like those pink pigments. But it's only suitable for very fair skin, and if you do like to have a brighter skin. Okay, and the last question. I've been using Retinol from The Ordinary from almost a year. I am currently using Retinol 1% in Squalane. I would like soon start using tretinoin. Which brand and strength you would recommend me using? So for this, it will depend on your country, and also tretinoin is prescribed by dermatologists, and I strongly discourage you to try to get it, like I would say, over the counter. It is important to have the proper formula. So for this, discuss with your dermatologist, but definitely if you have been on retinol like for 1 year, it would be, I would say, a smooth transition towards tretinoin. So I have a question in French from Clem, and I'm going to translate it in English. So it's regarding how to use retinol from one of my videos, which is the hyperpigmentation terminator. So this video is really for those of you who have a lot of hyperpigmentation and you want to correct it. And what I advise you is first to use retinol and to tolerate it in the beginning. So she's telling me that she used retinol 3 times per week at 1%, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So this is definitely I would say, the gentle way to start with your retinol 1%. Instead of using every single night, if you are not used to retinoid, start 3 days per week and slowly build it up. So do it at least for, I would say, 2 weeks, and then slowly transition to almost every evening. So don't be worried. It is completely normal to get irritation with retinol, but as long as you can manage them, a perfect way actually to manage irritation from retinol is to simply increase your moisturizer, but your skin should tolerate it, especially if you go slowly. You will have less side effect, I would say. Also, a part of the question is if she can use retinol around your eyes, and absolutely. You just need to be careful for the upper part of the eyes. Because of the eyelids and the movement, what happens is that the retinol can concentrate on the crease. So usually what I advise is once you have applied the retinol all over your face, with what is left on your fingers, you apply it under your eyes and on your top lid. And after 3 minutes, you are going to remove the retinol that has been concentrated on the crease of your eyelid. If you start to have irritation, just decrease the frequency around your eyes to every other day. So another question again from YouTube. This is from Reginoues. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Bonjour Cyril. First of all, I want to thank you so much for your videos and wish you a Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. I love your channel. Second, I would like to ask you if you could please make a video about men with beards, so basically like me, and how to properly apply products on hairy face. I never know how to address this issue. I basically skip my beard and I feel I'm not doing much for my skin and he then told me his skin type, and he has a combination to oily prone skin. So for this skin type, I would say 2 main requirements is to use a lot of products that are rich with humectants, and most likely you don't need a lot of emollients, so no heavy moisturizer should be fine, and also focus on your exfoliation routine. Like a good glycolic acid, for example, would be probably awesome for your skin type. So when you have a beard, of course you need to apply the skincare underneath. The way that I do it, because of the facial hair, is that I like to use the tip of my fingers, like to really massage all the product underneath, because the hair grows like this, and what we want to do is to push the product under them. So you do need to spend a little bit of time to massage all the products. So the last question from YouTube, it is from Max. Salut, merci pour tes vidéos informatives, which is hi, thank you for your informative videos. I would like to know if we can apply hyaluronic acid followed by a heavy moisturizer during a cold winter like in Canada. I have heard that the hyaluronic acid may draw moisture from your skin. If there is not sufficient humidity in the air, please demystify this for us. So indeed, this is, I would say, a common myth, and this is stems really from a lack of proper understanding of how humectants works. It is not only related to hyaluronic acid, it is also exactly the same with a different type of sugars, for example, that are also humectant or amino acid, and etc. So the way that those products work, they are a little bit like a magnet that attracts the water in the skin barrier. Most of the time what they do is that they return some of the water in the product. So a good example is my beloved Dalabo, the premium lotion. It is also the same with the Coco June lotion. So in this one, it has a high content of water, and the hyaluronic acid here, and also the derivative of urea, is going to trap some of the water already in this in this bottle in your skin barrier. However, if you don't have any oils to really lock in the water, or if you don't live in a country with a very high percentage of humidity in the air, this water that has been attracted will only stay temporarily, and eventually, like probably in 30 minutes, it will evaporate again. What is always important is the ratio between the humidity in your skin and the humidity around you. If it is very low, whatever you do, this water will escape, and this is why we need emollients and occlusives, so basically lipids in general, to really trap this water that has been attracted, and this is the combination of the two that is important. Obviously, if you live in Canada currently now, I'm pretty sure that it is very cool. The humidity is also very low, so it is a very, very drying environment. So the way to do it is to build those layers of humectant, like the Adalabo that I've showed you, like the hyaluronic acid from The Ordinary, and immediately while the skin is still down, you apply a really thick moisturizer that contains lots of emollients and occlusive to really trap this water. Conversely, if you live, for example, in Singapore or in Taiwan, especially during summer, it is very humid and there's a lot of moisture in the air. Definitely you will need a moisturizer that will be lighter, because the water will less evaporate from your skin, because the concentration of water in your skin barrier and in the environment won't be very different. So now some questions from Instagram. So the first question is, can retinoids like tretinoid penetrate something like Vaseline? So absolutely, you can use tretinoid or even retinol actually on top of your moisturizer. What it's going to do is to just slow down the penetration of the actives, but they will still penetrate, and Vaseline is mostly lipids, and retinoids like retinol, but also tretinoid, also known as retinoic acid, are all soluble in lipids, so you do not have to worry. Another question, will exfoliating with a mild AHA, BHA every day damage the skin barrier? And the reference is the one from CosRx. So this is very difficult to answer because it depends on so many parameters. It first of all depends on your skin type. If you have a pretty, I would say, thick skin barrier, or if you are a teenager or in your 20s, using a really mild AHA and BHA is actually something that I do recommend and could be excellent. Also, it will depend on the concentration. If the concentration is very low, like under 5%, most likely it will be perfect for everyday use. Also, it depends on what you do on your routine. If you use for a retinoid, for example, it will probably be too much. So this is something that I cannot really answer. This is something that you have to figure it out by yourself. I've never tried this one from CosRx, and I don't remember that they disclose the concentration of AHA and BHA. So it's, I would say, pretty difficult to judge it. If you are really unsure, what you can simply do is to use it 3 times per week. You see how your skin reacts to it, and then the next week, instead of using 3 times per week, you do for 4 times per week, and you slowly increase and you see how your skin feels. If your skin starts to be a little bit sensitive, it means that you are starting to over exfoliate and you decrease the frequency. So the next question, in winter, dry and cold, what can we do to keep our skin hydrated and beautiful? So like I have answered to Max on YouTube, the key is lots of humectants and a ton of emollients and occlusive. Also, if you are wearing makeup, be very careful about the powder and probably just powder the T-zone, but always adapt also your makeup to what you are going to do. It is probably better to use, for example, a more moisturizing foundation during winter. Another very interesting question, can skin adjust to topicals like BPO? So I don't know what BPO is, maybe benzoyl peroxide, tretinoid, or will I always be fighting irritation? So for tretinoid, and actually all retinoids, definitely the skin can build a tolerance. There are still some people that will experience after 4 to 8 weeks some degree of irritation, like myself. If I use 1% retinol, especially like the one from Skin Medica that is so strong because it is not encapsulated, this one definitely is very, very strong on myself, and I will still have irritation, but less irritation than in the beginning. But in general, you will build up a tolerance. For benzoyl peroxide, it is also a little bit similar, but when it is used in conjunction with tretinoid, it is even stronger, so it will really depend on your skin type, but it is possible. Ingredients most recommended for skincare in early 20s. So I would go very basic. If you are nutritionist, it is basically humectants, like hyaluronic acid. It is pretty basic. You can try the hyaluronic serum from The Ordinary. It is also super affordable. Then an excellent moisturizer, what is really important at that age is really like to keep the skin well moisturized. A good exfoliant, like a glycolic acid, again, like from The Ordinary, the 7% glycolic acid, use it once or twice per week, it's probably enough. Ton of sunscreen, don't get exposed, don't get tan, and wear diligently your sunscreen, your SPF 50 plus every single day. For the rest of active, you don't really need it at that age. If you really want to add one active, I would go with niacinamide. The next question, does retinol treat stretch marks? It should work, but if I'm really honest, even tretinoin on stretch marks is not very efficient. What usually tretinoin will do, and probably also retinol with stretch marks, is on the moment where you get them, when they are really ready to, it will help to redensify the dermis. But what is a stretch marks? It is when all the fibers in the dermis were like really torn apart, basically. So this needs a lot of time, and usually you have like those white marks. But tretinoin and probably also retinol can help, but if you can, go straight away with tretinoid for stretch marks. I know that microneedling can also help. I use SPF every single day, but they are still saying some chemical SPF can cause free radicals. So I mean, there are so many disinformation about sunscreen. This is insane. So first of all, chemical SPF, so I guess you're referring from chemical sunscreen. This is an improper term that is used by so many brands. It is insane. Whether the sunscreen is made of mineral filters in form of zinc oxide or titanium dioxide, or from organic UV filters, both of them are always chemical sunscreen. Don't get fooled. Even when they use the zinc oxide, it is not like the zinc that you're going to find in a mine. It is something that is highly processed, refined, and it is from a chemistry process, and this is perfectly fine. So don't get worried about this. Often the chemical terms trigger some fear, but you should not be worried about that at all. What makes an ingredient good or bad for the skin has nothing to do if it is from Mother Nature or if it is man-made. It really depends on the ingredient. So regarding your question, even if we imagine that some of the filters can trigger some reaction oxidation species, so basically free radical, the ratio between free radical induced by UV and the one from those UV filters, there is, I mean, no comparison for sure. Your skin will be more protecting and will age less with your sunscreen. Using oxidized ascorbic acid serums are harmful or only less effective? No, they are only less effective. The few studies that have tried to show that they are harmful are completely bullshit. So no, don't worry about that. You will still probably have the exfoliating properties, because if it is a good one, it will have a low pH, but it will not be useful in terms of antioxidant properties. So next question about lips. What is your magical trick to chronic dry lips? I've tried everything, nothing works great. Try this one. This one is probably the best lip product that I've ever found. This is from the French brand Uriage. This is the ointments for cracks. So it was not designed originally for the lips, but oh my god, it works so beautifully. And I do have some super chapped lips if I'm not really careful. So try this baby. I'm going to link it down below. Next question, the ordinary Granactive retinoid emulsion versus the Granactive retinoid in squalane. Definitely I will go with the emulsion, because you also have the retinol at 0.1%, if I'm not mistaken. Why? Because the Granactive, which is so Granactive is the trade name from Grant Industries, but the name of the molecule is hydroxypinacolone retinoate. It is quite a new ingredient. I definitely have to do a full video to tell you exactly what we know about it. Not that I dislike, but we don't know if it is a good ingredient to boost the collagen synthesis, which is why I prefer when there is a little retinol in there. And the last question, is there really any way to eliminate redness, or can we only reduce it? So this is really going to depend on what is the reasons why you have redness. If it is because you have a super fair skin tone, I'm thinking about Dr. Sam Bending, for example. This is unfortunately something that is really like built up of your skin. It is also can be due to a skin condition like rosacea. So there are some dermatologic treatment to use rosacea, and definitely if you do have them, try to avoid non-irritant. I'm thinking about essential oils, alcohol, all the drying alcohol like ethanol, of course, that is often referred as alcohol denat for denaturate. Perfumes also is usually a triggering for redness. You can also have some redness on your skin because you are reacting to one of the ingredients in your skincare routine, so be very careful about that. Another option, which is my personal case, is simply because you have a lot of allergies. So I don't have any skin allergies, but I do have a lot of allergens in like from pollen, from the dust, and etc. So my nose is in a constant state of inflammation, and I do blow my nose quite a lot per day. So the fix for myself is to have an anti-allergic medication, and definitely when I take it, I am less red around my nose. But that's a difficult question because it really depends on where your redness is coming from. If you have super fair skin tone and you flush really easily, this is something that unfortunately you will always have, and they are not, like I would say, a proper fix to it. It's more about to manage, I would say, the redness. So I thank you so much for all your questions. Comment down below and tell me what you thought about this video, and if you want me to do another video like this where I ask you your question. I thank you so much for watching me. If you like this video, please thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to ring the little bell to not miss any of my new videos. You can also follow me on Instagram. I am Cyril Laurent, and I will see you next time. Au revoir, bye bye.